be recording the whole thing, so if we lose you, it will be available after the meeting, and we'll have it publicly available. So first, I would just like to introduce that tonight's MC is going to be board member Barb Button. Barb happened to be seated on the board in 2003 when Menomonie Market found itself looking for a new general manager. And she was one of the board members who interviewed me when I applied for the position. She stayed on the board for a few years back then and is now taking another go at it. And it's been really nice to have her back after all of this time. So please welcome board member Barb Button.
Okay, hello. I'd like to call the 2020 Menomonie Market Food Co-op annual meeting to order, please. We're going to kick off the meeting the way we start every single board meeting, and that is by having someone read aloud our end statement. So I'm going to do that now for all of us. The Menomonie Market Food Co-op will be central to a thriving, healthy community. Because of us, customers have local access to healthy choices for their physical, social, and environmental needs. The local food system is strengthened. The cooperative model is supported. Our owners have a vital sense of ownership and belonging, and employees enjoy sustainable, equitable, and dignified employment. Next is the call for candidates for the board of directors. We began our call for candidates about a month and a half ago. Here's the last call. Are there any new candidates? You can unmute yourself to speak or use the chat. This is your last call for candidates. Anybody? Okay. The polls will close in about 15 minutes. If you haven't yet voted, you'll see a link appear in the chat, and you can vote by following the link. The polls close at 7 p.m. Well, 2020 has been one for the history books so far, and it's been a humbling and unnerving year to be a board member at the co-op and to be the owner of a grocery store. We've had many serious discussions, and we've watched in awe as the staff turned the store on a dime to make it safe for everybody. I'm 2 years into my stint on this board, and I want you to know that you have elected a stellar group of people to serve you. They are brilliant and thoughtful and practical and open-minded. I'm going to introduce you to our president and leader, Rick Remington, and Rick will come to the mic now to give the president's report.
Thank you, Barb, and thank you everyone for joining us this evening. My name is Rick Remington, and I've served on the board since 2012. I want to especially thank you all for taking time out of your weekend to join us this evening. Not only is it a requirement of our bylaws that we hold an annual meeting, but your attendance is an illustration of the fact that people care. You care enough to give enough of this beautiful Sunday afternoon to join us for an hour or so staring at your screen. We've had a variety of annual meeting places over my tenure on the board, at the store, at the Naval Tainer, at the parking lot of the store, culminating in a big, beautiful meal we shared together in Wilson Park last fall. We'll do that again one of these days, and I hope this is our first and only virtual annual meeting. There's many reasons that I continue to serve our cooperative, which of course includes you, our owners, our staff, our community, our producers and farmers, and all the wonderful work we do, as well as our economic model. But I also serve because I love the group of people that I serve with. Barb used a number of flattering words to describe our board, and I just want to underscore that. We take our job very seriously, but we do it with a smile and a dose of humility. We genuinely care for each other in our community, and I'm just happy to serve with these people. We're a highly functional board, and we've created a wonderful culture coming together at each of our meetings. So I just want to call out to my board members, thank you. It's been a pleasure to serve with all of you. I want to take a minute to honor Wendy McDougall this evening, who's finishing up her term on the board in these last waning minutes or hours of this meeting. I've learned and continue to learn from each and every one of our board members, including the ones who have served in the past in Wendy's North section. She's brought an acute attention to detail to our board meetings and has never shied away from asking tough questions. Wendy, it's been a pleasure serving with you. Thank you. I look forward to seeing you in our store and in our community. When I get a group of our owners together, I usually like to take some time and go over the role of the board and how we oversee our co-op. Some of you probably have heard this before if you've attended events or annual meetings, but I'm hoping there's some new faces in the room or on the screen who are hearing this for the first time. One of the things we do is educate ourselves. None of us are experts in the cooperative food industry. We all come from a diversity of backgrounds. And so each of our meetings, we dedicate a portion to education, where we learn about industry trends, cooperative food growing, farming issues and threats, what other co-ops are doing across the country, and how we can govern and be a better board. We invite some of our community leaders as well to some of these meetings. We've had Menomonie Public Library, Dunn County Health, Mayo Clinic, and the Community Foundation attend. We invite some of our farmers and producers to join us and explain to them how it is serving Menomonie Market and how we can be a better partner with them. The second thing we do is supervise one employee of the store, and that's the general manager. Through our supervision of Crystal Helverson, our general manager, that's our only link to operations in the store. I use the word supervise in quotations, because Crystal is a very capable leader and knows exactly what she's doing. Not only does she have the respect and admiration of the board, but of the staff as well in our community and her peers across the cooperative food industry in the state, region, and country. Crystal is smart, but she also surrounds herself with a very talented staff. She can't do it alone. She's got an extremely talented and dedicated management team, right down through the ranks to the new hires. So by and large, she has a lot of help in doing the good work that she does. The second thing we do is monitor the performance of our co-op. We do that through policy governance, where we set high-level policies on what our co-op should look like in terms of our mission and ends, how we treat our staff, how we treat our customers, what our financial condition should look like, how the board should govern itself and conduct its business. We have a rotating education agenda covering individual policies at each meeting, and in the course of the year, we'll cover each of those policies, reviewing our quarterly financials 4 times per year. Lastly, and probably most importantly, we represent you, our owners. We don't take that lightly. Every time we have to make a big decision that may affect our co-op, we ask ourselves, what would our owners think? What would they do? Is this in their best interest? And so I want you to know that at all times, at all decision levels, we're thinking about you. Summarizing the last year is difficult. We had a big, beautiful meal in Wilson Park last fall. We've made it through the holidays, and we started off the year in good condition and with a bang. At our February board meeting, we were doing a SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats facing Menomonie Market. We had a really long list of strengths that made everybody feel very positive, and a pretty short list of threats, among which was COVID-19. You know the rest of the story. February 26th was the last time our board met in person, and we've been meeting virtually ever since. We've pretty much carried on our business as usual, but I miss seeing my fellow board members' faces, and it has taken a little bit of the mojo out of our board meetings. I look forward to the time when we can meet in person again. About a year and a half ago, the board directed Crystal to start investigating how we might cooperate with some of the other cooperatives, not only in our community, but in the Chippewa Valley. The obvious candidate for that was Just Local Food in Eau Claire. Menomonie Market and Just Local have a long history together, sharing and overlapping our owners who patronize both stores, shoppers who may not be owners but also patronize our stores. We share some of the same suppliers and farmers, and definitely many of the same values. It was very logical to expand our conversation with them and start exploring some ways we could work together closer, like sharing administrative services, which might create some efficiencies in both of our stores. Then COVID hit. In April, Crystal began serving as the interim general manager of Just Local Food. They had experienced a couple of staff departures and were in need of some assistance, and Crystal, being the obvious choice and neighbor and knowing so much about that community and that store, stepped into that role. Don't worry, she's still our general manager as well, and she served double duty in that regard. If I would have told Crystal a year ago that she would be managing 2 cooperatives while we undergo a global pandemic, she would have thought I was crazy. But she's done it, her and her team at Menomonie Market and at Just Local Food. We're continuing to work together, providing some human resources, accounting and marketing services. And Nick from Just Local has brought some of his meat expertise into our community as well. Collaborating in this way has definitely created some efficiencies in both our stores and also allows for greater cross-pollination between our 2 cooperatives. We shared a board retreat together with Just Local last spring and the management team of each of our co-ops. We're going to continue working and exploring how we might do this better and continue to formalize that collaboration. We'll be gearing up to continue that conversation just like fall. Just like us, they have passionate owners, dedicated staff and leadership, and I'm thrilled to be working alongside them. We truly are stronger together. I want to close this evening by saying just again, thank you everyone for joining us tonight. I'm going to turn the mic or the screen over to Crystal in a minute. And I just want to say it's you who make Menomonie Market what it is. With that, I will turn the screen over to Crystal, our general manager, and my friend Crystal Helderson.
This is so weird, you guys. I can't see you. Strange. Okay. So hello again. As I was getting ready to tell you about last year, I realized that I have no memory whatsoever about what happened at the co-op from the last annual meeting through March 12th, 2020. It's like time before the pandemic no longer exists. Then I came to remember that it was because it was finally starting to feel easy. We were doing projects, meeting our goals. We were officially becoming all the way financially stable after our big move to our new location in 2015. So it has been nice to get ready for this presentation because it has filled me with such gratitude for the sum total of work done by so many staff members, work that has been done over decades that has strengthened us and put us into a position where we could not only survive something as crazy as our current moment, but actually be able to thrive and be a helper when so many people need one. So first of all, I want to say that we have received so much gratitude at the co-op. So we can see it in your eyes. We can see your smiles shining through your masks. Thank you for sending us donuts. You people know who you are. And thank you for sending us cards. Thanks for such wonderful comments on Facebook, for the extra thank you when we put groceries in your car that you ordered online. Those things really do go a long way for me personally and for our staff. And on that note, thank you for shopping with us. It means something to be extra supported at this time. Many, many, many small businesses will not survive this. And we're in a good position to do that exactly because we are a cooperative. and your ownership and your support lend us a really important resilience in this moment. We have welcomed 65 new owners to our family just since the economic downturn has begun. And so to you brand new owners, I want to say personally, thank you for investing in us when nothing seems very solid right now. So there will be a annual report out within the next week, and you guys will be the first people to get a link to it. So I'm not going to go into too much detail, but this is a picture of our weekly sales for the whole last 2 years. The blue line is last year, and you can see that about a third of the way into the graph, that's October, and that's owner appreciation days. And so that's usually our very busiest week and a half of the year. And you can see that the blue line was really high this time. We did a great job. Our Thanksgiving, the next big bump, was a little bit lower than the year before. You might remember that it snowed 11 inches the day before Thanksgiving, and then another 10 inches the day after Thanksgiving. And then we received this new bump there about 2/3 of the way through the graph. So that is when we all started panicking and filling up our pantries. We had 3 busy weeks and 2 really super horrendously busy weeks in mid-March when the word came that we were going to be shut down. And I just want to point out that those 2 weeks are about as high as owner days. And our staff executed that moment with just brilliance. We didn't plan it. We didn't promote it. There was no forewarning that it was coming. But you can see that we were able to really execute a lot of sales in March. And then there's some rockiness there for a month because y'all realized you bought way too much food and you needed to stay home and eat it all. And then you can see since then that we've been experiencing really robust growth. It looks great, like our growth is up 20–25%, but it's really strange. Deli was down 75% and is only just now slowly growing back. Other departments like frozen, produce, and meat rose like stars and are now still experiencing excellent growth. So we can tell that your eating habits changed and that you're eating more at home. We know that you're eating more local food and you're eating more simple, single ingredient foods, which is exciting to us. Overall, our sales were up 9.1% last year, which brings us up to $4.5 million for the year. It is great to report that 33% of that, which is $1.5 million, was in the sales of local products. Last year, the average growth of food co-ops across the United States was 2.5%, so our 9% proves that all of us in the Midwest are above average. Some notable things from this last year, we relaunched our morsel and we moved from a quarterly publication to once every 2 months, which allows us to get more information out to you more often. The new newspaper format is beautiful and it has more in-depth theme with each issue. Another big win was our $4 meal deal on Wednesdays. It really became very popular and we were consistently serving more than 200 people every week before the pandemic hit. We're missing the community and the fun that went along with these meals, and we're really excited to bring them back when the time is right to welcome the forming of lines inside the store. And finally, I want to say that we had a huge win with a totally reimagined classroom calendar. The classes were filling up fast and selling out when the difficult decision to cancel the rest of the season came. But we have not lost what we learned, and we know that when the time is right for classes, we will be coming back strong. In that same category, the deli was ready to slay with weddings and other large public events this year with its catering program. Lane, Mike, and Ann and the entire crew worked hard to be ready to cater an event from 20 to 300 people with all of the details taken care of. We had 4 or 5 really great event successes last year, and once again, we have tucked away our learning curve and we are ready for when the time is right. And so getting a cart-based online ordering system for grocery is a very big deal. We did have online ordering in our planning documents, So we were going to take 2020 to research and assess feasibility. We had rough plans to launch such a thing in late 2022 or early 2023. Instead, COVID came along and Kendall got it done in 6 weeks. We did not hire this in. We did not hire Instacart or somebody else to use a third-party product. We built this system within our current point of sale. Kendall and her team had the huge task of cleaning up all the data from the many thousand items in our system to make sure that what you see on the screen is sensical. They took 1,000 professional pictures of products. Kendall designed a beautiful ordering platform that matches our brand. And because our point of sale system is so robust, we were able to link your accounts into both platforms so that you can see at home what you buy when you are here. It really is the biggest accomplishment of the year, and it absolutely couldn't have been done without these people. So huge kudos to Kendall, Isabel, Becca, Joe, and Kelvin. And next, for me, I'm sorry, back one. So this just shows you over the last 2 months or so that our online sales have been about 5% of our total sales, 95% of sales still being in the store. During March and April, when the shutdown was happening, it was closer to about 15% of sales. And so we expect that the use of this tool will grow slowly from this point forward. And I imagine that it will spike again this fall as COVID becomes more prevalent in the Chippewa Valley. This year, we won a Buy Local, Buy Wisconsin grant from the Wisconsin Department of Agriculture and Consumer Protection. With this award, we will buy much more food when it is in season and store it for use when it is not in season. We intend to create some specific value-added products that showcase our local farmers. We already made a house pesto and a spinach dip from Racing Heart Farm. And we just processed enough of their basil to be able to have local pesto on the shelf and in our signature sandwiches for a long time. We're looking into making stocks from poultry backs and necks and being a place where farmers at the farmers markets and farmers in general can sell extras and scratch and dent product as an alternative to composting it. So watch for updates as we get rolling on this multi-year project. And there you can see Lane buying up all the beets at the farmers market. I'm not going to add anything more here because Rick did a great job describing what has been going on with Menomonie Market and Just Local Food. I mostly just want to say that you know that every time I get in front of you, I brag up how wonderful our staff is and how creative and diligent and hardworking and ethical they are. And it is no surprise at all that I've learned the same thing about the staff and board at Just Local Food. It's been a pleasure to work with them. I have mostly been able to witness a really cool feeling inside of me of the excitement and frustrations of working in a store that's too small. We were there only 5 years ago. And I've been able to witness some amazing work from both the Just Local Food people and Menomonie Market people that are working together to keep their administration strong. So I'm sure there may be more to come. And next, so you may recall that in 2017, we started participating in a national cooperative community fund that is invested by over 100 co-ops, food co-ops all around the country. There's about $4 million in this fund, and the fund is used to support new food co-ops and expansions of food co-ops. So that money becomes loans to food co-ops. The interest that's made on that money comes back to us, and we are able to spend it locally on area nonprofits. Each year, we will give a gift either for a group working with the environment, the community, farming and hunger, or cooperatives. And so finally, after a few years of gaining some interest, we're ready to make our first award. So drum roll at home. We are going to give our money to the Dunn County chapter of the Wisconsin Farmers Union. And first, I would also like to say thank you to the Farmers Union for yesterday saving us when so many of you signed up that our Zoom account wouldn't handle you anymore. The Farmers Union has borrowed us theirs. The Farmers Union works to grow family agriculture, to fight monopoly power in ag, to rebuild viable dairy economy, and this year specifically, they're involved in fighting for fair legislative maps in our state. We chose to give our most local chapter right here in Dunn County. And many of the local farmers that we use at the store are members of this organization, so we know they'll put this gift to good use. Rachel Henderson, who is a farmer and president of the Dunn County chapter, says, "We're grateful for the community of co-ops that thrive in Menomonie, and in the coming year, we'll use these funds to support the development of grower co-ops to help solve the marketing and processing challenges faced by small and mid-sized farms. We're happy to present them with $1,500 to this end." And then in addition this year, we didn't have our usual large call for local farmers and vendors to apply for our round of Fund Our Foodshed grants. That usually happens in March and April, and it just wasn't in the cards to do it this year. So last month, we reconvened the committee, and we decided to reach out to all the people that had applied over the past 2 years. Many of them told us about how their operations have been affected by COVID and what they would do with a gift from us. And so here are the winners. Each of these farms will be awarded $1,500 for these great projects. So first we, go back. So first we have Sacred Blossom Farm. Tony is pictured here, and Sacred Blossom is located just down the road in Mondovi, Wisconsin. We were the second store ever in the whole wide world to carry his product. And Tony has big plans to move to biodegradable packaging, and he'll use his grant money for that purpose and for the professional photography and graphic design that he will need to do his brand relaunch. Next up, we have a gift for Harvest Moon Organics. They have had a big increase in demand since the pandemic began, which is awesome. And they plan to invest in materials and resources to increase the batch size of how many broiler chickens that they can produce at one time, from 250 per batch to 500. So congratulations to the Drilling family in Cadott, Wisconsin, certified organic. And then last we have LTD Farm. This is Katie, and Katie is quite obviously living the dream, which is what LTD stands for. She's doing all kinds of things on her farm, and she's going to use grant money to expand her pear orchard and also to build a pack shed for her CSA. So congratulations, Katie. One announcement, we'd really love to see you next weekend. Next weekend is going to be our annual local sale. And we're always involved with some pretty serious conversations about whether or not to keep going with promotions when we don't really want big crowds getting together and meeting each other. But we felt it was really important to give you guys a great opportunity to continue to support all of our local vendors. So next Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the local products in the store will be 10% off. Kelvin had to cut the signs for it today, and there were 1,250 of them. So that's a lot of local products, and they will all be on sale Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You can use the curbside pickup if you don't want to shop in store for that. Next week on Saturday, we are going to give some samples. It's been 6 months since we've given samples, and we're going to do that outside, one at a time and distanced. You'll be able to meet some of our newest local vendors. Hint, there will be frozen custard. And we also are going to try to sell a bunch of junk out of our shed. So if you want to come by, there'll be a little old-fashioned tag sale happening in the seating area of the co-op, and maybe you'll find something wonderful to take home with you. And then last, calling all gardeners. We're going to do a little bit of fall work outside on Saturday morning, and you have an opportunity to on Saturday from 8 until noon. And then one last slide from me. This is some photographs of the wonderful new people that have started at the co-op since COVID started. Haven't even seen some of these wonderful folks' faces. And we want you to know that we miss all of your faces. And it's been really great to look online and see a lot of your faces. If you're shy, you should take your camera on for just a minute so I can see you. But we do welcome Cicely, Grace, and Liz to the front end, and Kane in Fresh, and Kenzie in Center Store. So now that concludes my report, and I'm going to turn it back to Barb.
Thank you, Crystal. I have the results of our 2020 board election. We're happy to announce that all 3 candidates on the ballot were elected. The 2 incumbents, Rick and Susan, will be returning to the board, and we're very excited to welcome Sarah Paquette to fill our seat number 1 for a 3-year term. Sarah has already attended several board meetings and has participated in our Fund Our Foodshed grant committee as well. We're excited to work more with her, and welcome, Sarah. We know that every family, every industry, every community across the globe has had a common challenge this year. The COVID-19 pandemic and its effects may be the greatest common experience of our lifetimes. When it has passed, we, as well as our communities and economies, will be forever changed. There have been many losses and many gains, and we're not through yet. Here in the rural Midwest, like many other things, our experience with this virus started more slowly and later than on the coasts and in the large cities. Dunn County is currently experiencing the highest test positivity rate that we have seen so far, and experts say that we are in for quite a ride as the schools are opening and we all spend less time outside. We need the security and the satisfaction that comes from being part of a community more than ever. The co-op has proved to be a vital anchor for our community, even as our activities and interactions have been curtailed. This could not have happened without the incredible work our staff did early on and continues to do to make the co-op a safe place and a reliable source for healthy food. The board has been awed and astonished at what they have accomplished, and they've done it with kindness, goodwill, and dedication, and we cannot thank the staff enough for shepherding our grocery store through this crazy year. My board colleague Susan will be highlighting some of the many ways that MMFC came through for all of us since March. Please welcome Susan Cron.
Thank you, Barb. Like Barb said, my name is Susan Cron. I was appointed to a board position just in April 2019. And I came from many years working as a dietitian in public health, and serving on the board has been a great way to support an organization that strives to increase access to healthy food and support our local food system. And back at that time, in April 2019, I never would have imagined what our life would be like 1 year later. 2020 has brought each and every one of us unique challenges. And before I dive into telling the story of how the co-op staff members have supported us all through these past 6+ months, I want to acknowledge that so many people in our community have been working diligently to keep things running and to keep our families, our friends, and our neighbors safe. Many of you behind those screens tonight are essential workers or are making really hard choices to make our community safe and keep others safe. And we thank you for what you're doing. As Barb mentioned, tonight I have the honor of highlighting the amazing efforts of the Menomonie Market Food Co-op staff. As a board member, I am not involved in any kind of day-to-day store operations. So I want to acknowledge that the photos and stories that I get to share with you tonight are contributed by Crystal, and many of these stories have been shared at monthly board meetings through Crystal's reports. The co-op staff is known for going above and beyond, but this year, more than any, the challenge of being an essential business in a global pandemic has really brought their strengths to light. Within the first weeks of the emerging pandemic, we were again benefiting from having a long tenured leadership at the Menomonie Market. Crystal acted fast. She circled in with her management team, made plans, and was communicating really quickly with staff, board, and other stakeholders to enact really big changes fast. Crystal reported that those early days felt like the last few weeks before the new store opened back in 2015, that constant feeling that you can't get enough done in time. And what you see on the screen pictured here are some of the Menomonie Market owner volunteers, Drew and Al, who came in after hours with Crystal to get that plexiglass up at the registers. And in those early days, staff added sanitizing stations throughout the store. They pulled all the samples of products off the sales floor. And as you know, sanitizer, gloves, and other cleaners turned out pretty hard to find right away. So there was a lot of scrambling to find new sources of those products, important safety products. And then staff started implementing a sanitation round right away, and they're still doing this daily. So at least twice per day, they do a round that takes hours, sanitizing all the carts, the basket handles, every phone, keyboard, door handle, railings, all high-touch surfaces, both on the sales floor and in all the staff areas. And what you see pictured here is a customer favorite, James, there on the right from the deli doing a sanitation round. And then also pictured is that it's a COVID-19 wall, so an area outside of Crystal's office where all of the changing news and the rules and information on COVID-19 keeps the staff up to date. Also in March, the co-op started wrapping all the produce that does not naturally have an outer covering. And this tedious task was above and beyond state requirements. Crystal received a lot of positive feedback about it, especially early on when we all had, not a very good understanding of how the virus was spreading. And so we'd like to acknowledge Felicia and her fresh crew for that big addition to their daily workload, especially as the co-op was selling more produce than ever during that time period. Things behind the scenes had to change too. The co-op's primary supplier, Unify, experienced demand nationally that they could not keep up with. And there were crazy high out of stock rates for several weeks. The Menomonie Market buyers that you see here, Joe, Jen, Margaret, Tanya, and Ann, all had to search high and low for alternative products to help keep our shelves full. Crystal shares that Joe reportedly ordered 15 different brands of toilet paper just to fill one order. Schedules changed, order maximums were imposed, orders were huge, and these buyers and receivers took everything in stride. Remember that graph that Crystal just showed us of the sales suddenly skyrocketing? Thank you to all of these 5 people who bought all of that food. Emptying the bulk bins felt like a sad loss for many staff members and customers. It's a foundation building block of the co-op's history. The staff committed early not to simply pack those foods away, but to find a way to keep the department alive. So they transformed that seating area that we all love, it wasn't in use anymore, to a repack station. This allowed for more spacing of staff in the back rooms, as well as a nice sunny window to work by. This was a way also to avoid layoffs. As our deli sales plummeted, we were able to shift those folks into curbside shopping, bulk repack, and sanitizing shifts. Every single staff member flexed into new and different work as it came up. Masks. As it turns out, this has been a pretty challenging part of the pandemic response for a lot of people. First of all, a big thank you goes to those that made and delivered masks to the co-op. The co-op staff started wearing masks early on and required it of all the customers about a week before it was mandated by Governor Evers. The board of directors and management team are very confident that our policy requiring face masks is appropriate and will keep our staff and customers safer. We have received overwhelming support from owners to that effect, but it should be mentioned that there are a small number of folks who oppose that decision. Many of those people have been calm and kind about it, but not all. Hannah, the front end captain, and Jay, our customer service manager, have been brave and consistent in giving people the message of our policy. This has been very difficult at times, but highly appreciated by our fellow employees and customers. We cannot underestimate that big job that Crystal described to create the online ordering system and implement it in the middle of all of this chaos. Like Crystal said, marketing manager Kendall hadn't even completed her first year with us when she took on this huge task with her amazing project team. And then Jay with the customer services team found a way to actually squeeze a totally whole new program into a schedule and into coolers. All of these steps required to receive, shop, pack, process, store, and then deliver these orders to cars is a lot to manage. Crystal reports that customers love it, and she's heard that it's the best online ordering for groceries in the Chippewa Valley, and specifically better than Target or Amazon. So if you haven't given it a try yet, be brave and take advantage. Like Crystal said earlier, we believe that even more owners will start to use curbside pickup as winter and COVID-19 settles into the Chippewa Valley, and people return again to staying at home and cooking most meals. Those of you that have shopped at that old store on 2nd Avenue may remember Astrid as a cashier or even as the front-end manager. And even before the move to this new store, Astrid served as the Menomonie Market Food Co-op's first ever human resources person. Since COVID-19, Astrid has done many things behind the scenes that contributed to safety and success. She did a lot of legwork that resulted in awards of federal stimulus money. She expertly navigated the complex and quickly changing regulations, orders, and mandates pertaining to safety, staff, business operations, and food service. She learned how to implement a paid benefit for anyone with COVID-19 or a quarantine order and how that affected their tax payment. She reorganized the work location, schedule, and workload of staff to maximize social distancing. And finally, she helped all managers work through backup plans and scenario planning in the case of lots of employees got sick. And through all of this, she had an open door for anyone who needed to talk, which, as you would imagine, we've heard is with just about everyone. Astrid has proven irreplaceable, so thank you, Astrid. And finally, the deli. As you heard in the sales report, the shutdown hit the deli the hardest. Sales plummeted in what was the fastest growing department. But did these deli experts let that depression set in? No. Instead, they instantly sprung into action. They transferred food that wasn't going to be used into other departments or to the Stepping Stones food pantry. They stopped producing what stopped selling. They deep cleaned everything in the kitchen. They moved outside their department to help in other areas, whatever needed to be done. They figured out a way to still get brunch to hardworking moms on Mother's Day through a curbside pickup. Then they started innovating to support ways in which our eating at home was evolving. So you might see those take and bake pizzas or hot bar favorites in family sizes. More meal options in cold cases, lots more rotisserie chickens, and different uses of the hot bar. And lucky for us, I'm sure they're not done yet. Throughout it all, the staff remained the loon. Crystal reports that this is an iconic symbol that the co-op team uses to describe the positive energy that we all love when we come to the store. Above the water, the loon is calm, serene, and lovely, even though below the surface it's turning like mad and working hard. We have all benefited from their stamina and hard work these last 6 months. And we, the board members, or the board of directors, couldn't be more impressed. Thank you, Menomonie Market Food Co-op staff. And so the board has a special announcement. Because we did not attend any in-person training events this year, and because we did not have a big in-person annual meeting where we provided food for all of you, the Menomonie Market Food Co-op board has chosen to spend the $2,000 surplus of the board's governance budget to award bonuses for our hardworking staff. And Crystal tells me that this will be matched by operational surpluses as well. This will be based on hours worked since early March. So thank you to all 34 people at the Menomonie Market Food Co-op that keeps us and our families well fed and feeling like part of the community. Thank you. And I'll pass it over to Barb.
Okay, it is public comment time. You've been making comments and you can still get them in. Even if we don't read them all, they will be captured in our annual meeting minutes and being taken now by Astrid even as we speak. Let's see, I'm going to read off a few here. Wonderful work during the pandemic. Menomonie Market is the safest grocery in Menomonie. The online ordering and curbside pickup is excellent. Staff have continued with friendly, gracious service. Thank you. And another one, what's going on with the wine and spirits option? The selection is lacking. Another comment that this is a very slick meeting, and that Crystal is surrounded with a staff that makes everything look easy. All right, and great idea to award the surplus to the staff. So that's just a few things that have come in so far. Okay. continue to enter those in through the notes as we kind of wrap up here. This does conclude our formal time together. We'll send you an email soon, and it will include a survey link and a link to our annual report. If you complete the survey, we'll send you a $5 coupon that you can spend in the store. If you'd like to stay around for a little bit, ask questions, or hang out and chat with the board member, don't hang up, just stay connected, and the tech folks will place you in a breakout session with the board member. Thanks again for being with us of this unusual meeting format for us. And like Rick said, I hope that we're meeting in person next year. Good night.
Hi, everybody again. There's a few people sticking on, so if you have any comments that you want to say or just want to stick around and say hi, I see who's left is several of our seated board members and some other really important people in my life, which I love to see without a mask on. So go ahead and unmute yourselves. I think we're down to just a smaller group of people, so we probably won't do the room thing, but instead I'll back this up a little bit and we'll try to get some space over here for our board members to see you and possibly remain masked. Is anybody brave enough to turn on their volume? I see Patrick has. Patrick and Jan, you're on two separate screens, but you're in the same apartment, right?
That's better. We didn't.
We're
the
great.
cross shot was not, to our liking.
Great. I see Logan Mather is here with her daughter Lily. So Logan is a past board member and Lily is currently a cashier with us. I see my husband and my father-in-law. You can try to drop oh, there's Bill and that's my kitchen at home.
Yeah, okay.
Do any of the other board members, Steve?
What kind of fundraiser?
Do you have anything that they would like to say? Oh yeah, Gary's on too.
Just that I'm happy to be a board member and happy to see you all tonight.
I've seen it multiple times. I saw it many times. I thought it was great.
I don't know. I should mute.
Yeah, we're having trouble hearing you guys in this room, so we're just scurrying around a little bit trying to figure out if we can see your mouths moving, a few of you, but we can't really hear you very well. So
I'm going to say that this is Terry Golan, and I'm going to get off pretty soon, but I just wanted to say, and I put this in the chat box, when all of this started, I was amazed at how quickly you all jumped on everything and made changes in the co-op and were wearing masks. And I remember the first time I came in there wearing a mask, and it just felt so weird and spooky and scary, but somehow having the whole staff wearing masks and all the changes that were made with the bulk and the produce and the plexiglass going up, it very quickly became comfortable and normal feeling, which maybe we don't want this to feel normal, but I have felt safe coming into the co-op for a long time, and just comfortable with everybody wearing masks, and really like you just embraced it and then embraced us. And that is just a marvelous and amazing thing. And I think of you all as being heroic, and championing, co-ops and in your job place and our co-op that we all get to shop at, and we're so fortunate to have. So I just want to thank you so much. I don't get to say it every day, but I feel like I should say it every time I walk in there.
Thanks, Jerry.
Thanks, Terry.
Thank you.
I would like to say something. This is Margie Steenaker, and back at the beginning when you first started taking orders for curbside delivery, it was incredible what people did to try to make that work. We were just so touched and so impressed, and of course, I think everybody was happy when you got the more complete system set up, but that personal help at the beginning was really exceptional. And I think it was reassuring when everything felt kind of scary and how are we ever going to do this? You're just kind of a lifeline for us. We are so much more hesitant to go anywhere else, to go in any other stores than we are there. One little suggestion I would make is to encourage the staff to feel comfortable asking politely people to follow the rules when they don't. So because I have had the experience of people kind of bunching up at the checkout, and a couple times I've asked people if they would mind just backing up a little bit and giving me that 6 feet, and I sort of wish the staff would say it instead. But I know that's hard. I know it's really hard. But I think usually, especially co-op shoppers, I think they just forget. They just, we all do it once in a while. In some setting or another, we forget and get closer than we should. So, but we've been really, really, really happy, really pleased. We brag about you all the time to friends and family from afar. Thank you.
Thanks, Margie.
Wendy, do you want to say anything? Wendy?
Sure. I agree with, what people have already highlighted. I'm really pleased that we could reward the staff, and I do try to thank them every time I come in just for showing up for work, because I admire their dedication and their courage, and know that it can't be easy to wonder who's going to come in and might not want to be cooperative. So I really appreciate that, and it's been terrific to be on the board with all of you, as well as Patrick was on the board when I started, and I just feel like I've learned a lot, and like Rick said, it's a great opportunity to really be in a group that cares about one another. So I see that there will be good things ahead, and it'll be terrific when we're on the other side of this COVID pandemic. So thanks for all your hard work. I guess the thing that I thought was so stunning when I tried to contact people that are decision makers about how to operate during unusual times is nobody was supporting local businesses and giving direction to that. So the immediate response that we saw at the Menomonie Market Food Co-op was really the leadership of Crystal and the leadership team deciding, based on what they knew, what the best strategy would be to reduce risk. And I was just astonished by that. I was supremely disappointed in, I called the city and I called the county and I called you know, specialists and other people and said, how are local businesses supposed to know how to proceed? And they had nothing to offer. So I think the fact that the co-op was out in front of the protective measures and guidelines is really a huge credit to Crystal and the staff for being willing to improve the situation, take some risks, but, you know, like the loon, be working really hard, but also really calm and knowing that that was the right thing to do. So thanks again to everybody.
This is Jan talking, and I would like to say a lot of the same things. It struck me from early on that I could go to the co-op and feel safe. I've always felt safe there on a lot of different levels. But in a time when something like this comes upon you, and the older we get, the harder it is to sort of roll with these things and to know where you are, when you are in a good place. It's incredibly valuable. And to combine that with a good place to get food. I mean, I say to Patrick every day, we have our meals, we have good food, and that's what we look forward to. Because we're not doing a lot of other stuff, and we're not seeing each other. And our meals loom so large in our life, and we eat really, really well. And our food is safe, and the way we get it is really safe. Some days it feels like that's all we have, really, and that's a lot. And so that makes it so hugely valuable. So peace on everyone. Thank you a lot.
Thanks, Jan.
If I may add, this is Patrick. Speaking of seeing each other, my first reaction when so many of you came up on the screen, and there were many people who chose not to be visual, but it was just great seeing all you congenial, smart people who we've not been able to see very much of for months, for half a year. So thanks for doing this. Thanks for working the technology so wonderfully and for getting us all together.
We'll pass that thanks right on. It doesn't, none of it lands here. They did a great job, and we came in and just did what, you know, stood in front of it basically. So it's really nice.
There's a whole team working behind the scenes here, Patrick.
Okay, anybody else have anything you want to say? All right. I think we're going to conclude our meeting. Thanks for coming, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Great to see your faces.
Thank you. Thanks a bunch.